Happy Monday morning. It is time for us to do our little 7 minutes of workout. I am seated. I hope you're seated. I hope you're comfortable. We're going to get a little bit uncomfortable here in a second, but get your heaviest weight along with your lightest weight so that we can go back and forth for 7 minutes. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about being settled in or set apart, and there's a very distinct difference, but it can look the same at points. So let's do a little exercise and then let's talk about it. All right, so I'm going to start out with the heavy ones. Again, if you're not in this space or you don't have heavy weights, just use what you've got. But I'm trying to challenge myself here. I'm just going to be going like this. All right, so here, let's go to 30. As I say it, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do 30. $15. All right, you only got 10 more. 10, 9, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Okay, wobble it out. All right, now I'm gonna get my lighter ones right now. And if you got 5s, you may say, I don't need the lighter ones or whatever. Use whatever you want right here. Now, I'm just gonna punch. We're gonna go to 50 on this, so you might wanna do some lighter ones. Here we go. $38, $39. Whew, sister. I don't know about you, but it's burning. Whew, we're wobbling here. All right, now get your good and heavy one. And let's just do those behind the head. There we go, let's do 30. These are not that hard. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take it, but that was 16. Hang on, I'm gonna change the song. We listened to this song last week, so I wanna mix it up a little bit. Here we go, let's start back. 17. 4. 30. Whew. Man. Phew. I may have given myself more credit than I should have just then. My arms are tired this morning. All right, pick up your small weights. Let's go back to our little punches here. And remember this is a great place to get the heart rate up. For those of you who maybe have, you are in that space of morbidly obese and you are in that space where cardio is very hard for you, these are great spaces right here just to get it going. So do everything you can, get the heart rate up and challenge the lungs. Here we go. 1, 2. $30. 49, 50. You did it, sister. All right, here we go. Get those heavy ones back out. Let's do these. I feel embarrassed to say this, but I cannot do that right now. So I'm just gonna get my littles. Remember this, that sometimes the heavy weights, even if you could do them in another season or situation, sometimes they're just too much for you. And I am, like I said, a little embarrassed, but I can't be ashamed. I'm just where I am today. Here we go. Repetition is such an important part of exercise. So just be there, sister. What's that? 10? $25, $28, $29, $30. Whew, there you go. All right, now, here, do yourself a favor and stretch out. Stretch out. All right, let's do the punches. Whew, we got it. You can do it. I know you're feeling it big time, aren't you? $21. $40. $47, $48, $49, $50. Whew. Holy smoke. You would think that a seated workout would not be that big of a deal. Well, this sister's here to tell you it is. All right. I'm gonna take these two together. Before I was using the 15-pound on this one. Just gonna use my little 2-pounder equaling 4 pounds. I'll come out behind. Repetition is key. 2. 10. 16. 23, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 30. All right, let's do one more set of punches and be done. That will put us right at 7 minutes. Here we go. $30. And $50. You did it. Whew. With a weak arm, pat yourself on the back. Oh my gosh. You know, so we talk about this settled in or set apart. I'm going to tell you something. We can get super comfortable in many areas of our life. Where I'm a Christian, I go to church, I pray, you know, I make the casseroles, I sing in the choir, I teach a class, and so on and so forth. But we aren't truly living as one set apart. We're just living in a group of people with an idea or a general direction, which altogether is not bad. But are you set apart, even in that group, as one who prays differently? Are you a woman of a different sort? So one of the things that I'm challenging, I've been challenged in, and I challenge the groups that I sit in, and that I'll challenge you in, is to have a prayer life that is different than what it used to be. And this is not a measure of comparison and competitions. Don't hear me saying that. But you understand the difference in going with the flow, being a regular old fish in a regular old pond, or being a fish that swims upstream, even amongst your own kind of fish. So, one of the things that has been put in front of me, and many people have heard this before, is George Mueller's process of prayer. And he was a German-born evangelist, but he also had an orphanage where over the course of his life he cared for 10,000 orphans. And he was one who decided he was not going to ask for donations, but he was going to just let God provide. And with that, there were many times, like many of you probably heard the bread and milk story, where one morning they get up, they have nothing, and he sits the orphans around the table and they pray. And then what do you know? The bread factory has overmade bread and brings them bread. The milk truck breaks down out front and brings them the milk because it's going to spoil just sitting there. And you say, wait a minute, that is a made up story. It's not. It's not though. And the reason why we think it's made up, because we don't believe in prayer that is that powerful well, we don't believe in a God who provides. And so we need to recognize who we're talking to. But what George Mueller says in his prayer process, and I'm just going to read, there are 6, and I will put all of them in the blog post. I'm just going to read the first one. I seek at the beginning to get my heart into such a state that it has no will of its own regarding a given matter. 9/10 of the trouble with people generally is just here. 9/10 of the difficulties are overcome when our hearts are ready to do the Lord's will. Whatever it may be, when one is truly in this state, it is usually but a little way to the knowledge of what His will is. Another thing that Billy Graham said is, walking in step with the Almighty God is where we will find the answers to all our problems and be guarded against the wiles of the devil and the evil of the world. And people are like, we're not going to find the answers to all our problems here. I'm telling you, yes, you are. Through Jesus Christ, through His Spirit who moves among us, who lives inside of us. If you are a born again child of God, He lives inside you and is telling you, leading you, guiding you. And it's not a matter of if He's in you. It is if you are leaning into Him and listening and being intentional in that space. And one of the things that we have to do to be intentional, and this is one place I've been challenged in school, is to write a weekly personal prayer strategy. And so, for instance, today, Monday, right after I finish this up, I'm going to shut everything down and I'm going to go out in my prayer walk in my yard. I'm going to pray intentionally over my family, both immediate and extended. And I'm going to pray over my church. These are the 2 things that I am specifically praying for on Mondays. On Tuesdays, I am to pray for, home and family were today. Church and the unsaved people in my life are on Tuesdays. Wednesdays are set aside for prayer and, praise and worship. Just sold out to that, open-handed, listening to the Holy Spirit and leaving myself open to learn more about the character, nature, will, and plan of God. I'm not going to come in with intention except to be with Him. And then Thursdays are sold out to the ministries that I'm a part of, such as the classes that I teach, or a Heart Refined ministry and you and all the things surrounding it. Fridays are intentional for global missions and ministries that I have the privilege of praying over and that the Lord has given me a heart for. For instance, Scarlet Hope, that goes into strip clubs and ministers to the women in that industry, men and women in that industry. And so anyways, then Sundays or Saturdays and Sundays, I still pray. I still pray very consistently, but they don't have that order set to them. But it's important that we have a structure and a strategy, because without that, y'all, the Lord calls us to order, decent order, because He knows that we will not do things in that way. We are prone to wander, right? So we are set apart for Him. As you hear this playing in the background, Refiner's Fire, set apart for you, Lord. And so with that, I come with you as my desire. I come and ask you to teach me how to set this up. Another thing that I had to do in this paper is write about hindrances and safeguards that I use in my world. I am going, what I challenge you to do is to sit down and write out your prayer strategy. How are you going to pray Monday through Friday? How are you going to section it off? And I'm going to walk for about 30 minutes, and there's the second half of my exercise. On a lot of days, to keep my hands off of my phone while I'm walking, I'll have music in, but to keep my hands off my phone, I'll just have my weights and just be doing whatever movement I can do. I don't know if I'm going to do it today because my shoulders are tired, but I am prone. One of my hindrances is to keep looking at my phone. If I think of somebody, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of you. No, I can pray for them, and that's enough in that moment. And if the Lord leads me later, I can text them and tell them I'm thinking of them. But keep your hands. That's a safeguard for me. That's a hindrance and a safeguard. So write it up for yourself. What is the prayer strategy that the Lord is calling you to Monday through Friday? What are your hindrances and what are your safeguards? And y'all, I'm going to tell you something. One of the reasons I've struggled so much in time beating myself up is because I have not had a structure to my prayer life. And over the past 2 months, one of the things the Lord has done is brought structure to my prayer life. Not as structured as I would like to be, as this is calling me to be. But in that space, I don't beat myself up all day long about what I didn't do. I'm in communion, in conversation with the great I am, with his wonderful Son who is interceding and advocating on my behalf right now, on your behalf right now, and with his Spirit who lives inside of me. And there is no guilt and shame there. It doesn't exist in that space. If you're struggling with who you are as a Christian, you know you're saved, but you're struggling with who you are. This is what we're here to do. And if you notice, the slogan, if you will, for a Heart Refined Ministries is cultivating faith and disciplines through the cultivating faith and spiritual disciplines through the full gospel of Jesus Christ. And this is where it starts, girls. Okay, today's your day. Wear your arms out, and girl, get to praying specifically. Write that up. Read the full blog. It'll give you the encouragement and the challenge. Today's the day. God bless you. Bye.